My name is Victor, and I lived in Vietnam for 5 years. This is a video talking about my mistakes that I made when I was living in Vietnam. So let's talk about the first one. Being a proud American. Growing up, I would spend my summers in Vietnam, and it was a lot of fun because I got to spend time with my family and my cousins in Vietnam. I don't think it was taught to me by my parents to be proud of being an American, but I think it was kind of interacting with people in Vietnam and kind of having this aura about yourself. You know, you go to Vietnam, ở Mỹ mới về hả? Ủa Việt kiều hả? And they would, say things like that, and then you kind of feel good about yourself because you get all this attention. And then when I first moved back to Vietnam, I was getting certified to teach English. I was about to get a teaching job, and when I talked to people, they would ask me about my salary, and I would share with them. I make like $430K an hour when I first started. And they were like, an hour? For me to pull in $430K an hour, people were amazed. I think people thought that I was working 8-hour days, which I wasn't. I would work 2 to 4 hours on a weekday and then 8 hours on the weekend. An average about 30 to 40 mil a month. But if you look at a salary of a regular person, it would be about 10 mil a month, And if you're college educated, and if you're not, you're making less, about 6 to 8 mil a month. And maybe you're in a higher paying industry, you'll make about 20, to 40. And I was making 30 to 40 already. So when I came back to Vietnam, I would get the special attention because I was Việt kiều, It's something interesting. People are curious about your life in America, taking that for granted. And also this idea of Vietnam being third world, and thinking that American education is superior. I thought the way that Americans do things was the right way. And when I first got there, I was only 21. I was a young man, and I didn't know any better. I was arrogant. It took some time to drop that mindset because I don't think that was helpful towards my life in general, in my day-to-day. It really hindered me, I believe, because I didn't like who I was. And because of that arrogance, I allowed things to upset me easier. Even something simple as, waiting in line, and seeing people cut in front of you. And you look at that and you're like, oh, that's annoying. In America, we would be more considerate. But we're not in America. I remember one time I went to a backpack store to sew up my backpack. It had ripped. And I remember when we were talking and I left my backpack there with her, she said it was $30K for the sewing. And I was like, cool. I came back to pay and get my backpack after she was done. And she said, it's $80K. And I was like, what are you talking about, $80K? And she was like, yeah, it was $80K. We said it was $80K. I was like, no, you said it was $30K. And this is in Vietnamese. I was speaking Vietnamese with her. But for some reason, she told me it was $80K. And I was like, what the heck? And I got so upset. And I let that anger get to me because I felt so cheated, right? And I was like, oh, how could she just trick me? I took my bag, I paid the $80K, and I remember I drove off so quickly. I was driving really fast, and I was like, oh, I'm so angry. Why am I getting scammed like this? And if you put in perspective, it was a $50K difference. And now in Vietnamese dong to American USD conversion, $50K is $2. And some people are like, it's not the money, it's the principle. But are you really gonna let your principle of $2 affect your entire day? And that's what I did. I allowed myself to be so upset over $50K when someone was scamming me or when somebody tricked me or I felt, wronged by somebody, and I just let it add up, and I let this anger fester in my chest, carry that weight on my shoulders of being upset. A part of me believed that if I was in America, this probably wouldn't be an issue. But looking back, it's like, dude, it was $50K. It's $2. Get over it, And be upset at the moment, maybe, but don't let it just add up. I think as time went on, as I've gotten older, I've become better at controlling my emotions. I've become, less arrogant and more understanding of differences in people. And that took time. The way I handled money was also a mistake of mine in Vietnam. Looking back, I had moments in time where I was saving so much money. I was putting away maybe about $800 a month after my expenses. I was putting away about 20 mil a month, at times, because I had, I lived with my family at the time. And there were other times where I was just spending, and I was living pretty much paycheck to paycheck, even though I was making 30 to 40 mil a month. And in Vietnam, you can easily live off for one person off of 20 mil, And if you're not renting, then you spend about 10 to 15 mil and you can live very lavishly. You have to remember that the lower paid Vietnamese people are making about 6 to 10 mil a month, and they're making that work. They are living at home. They have a home where they don't have to pay rent, but 6 to 8 mil a month, and they're making ends meet and they're getting by. So spending 10 to 15 mil is a lot. You're eating out and you're enjoying your life. I went overboard. There were moments where I was spending frugally and I was saving a lot. And then there were moments where I was like eating out and traveling and doing this. And given also the people that I associated myself with, the girls that I dated or the friends that I spent time with, they had a certain lifestyle that they wanted to live. And I also kind of followed suit. It was me surrounding myself with certain people. And I don't think it's a bad thing, right? Like, I had a friend who told me, you fly all this way here to live a different life. Why would you come here to have a 9 to 5 and then stay at home and cook and meal prep when you can make a lot of money, go out, eat whatever you want, and then work very minimally, and then travel and see the world and do all these things? Why would you not do that? And so he had a point. I think there's like two sides where it's like you go overboard and you just enjoy life and you party every night and you do all this stuff. And there's another side where you're just at home reading books and meal prepping and, chilling at home, where there's nothing wrong with meal prepping and reading books and chilling at home. And there's also nothing wrong with partying. I think there's a balance. And sometimes I would go out a lot and sometimes I wouldn't. But looking back, I wish I had paid more attention to the money that I was spending and having my future in mind. And so now, coming back to America, I came back with about 4K in my bank account, and it's not very much. 4K is a lot for Vietnam. You can live maybe 6 months. 4K, you bust out, you can maybe stretch that out to 2 months, of expenses. And that's a big regret of mine. Another mistake of mine was that I would get distracted. So like I said, the people that I spent time with, the money that I was making, the things that I was doing, the food that I was eating, all these things were a lot of fun. And I don't really regret them, but I went to Vietnam with a specific purpose, I went to Vietnam to kind of live a different life and also kind of document that on YouTube and build my YouTube brand. I've been making YouTube videos for forever, since I was 12, and I'm 28 now. So 16 years. This is what excites me. This is what I love. And I've had many jobs throughout my life. And this is the one job where I felt like, wow, it'd be so cool if I got paid for this, And that was the original purpose of going to Vietnam. Document my journey, film everything, and make vlogs. Like, I wanted to be a YouTuber. Like, that was the goal. Film my daily life. And wouldn't that have been so cool if I've documented my journey? I definitely did make some videos, but I didn't make that many videos, For the amount of time that I was there, 4 to 5 years, I didn't make that many videos. I have like 82 videos on my channel. If I had posted one video a week, it could have easily become, 5 times 5, 250 videos. And I probably would have had so much more subscribers if I had put more work. But I got distracted. I enjoyed my life. I got lazy. When I was teaching, I would sleep in, wake up at like noon, and then get ready for work and I would teach at 5:30, finish my shift, and we'd go out, eat, and then we'd stay up until the night. Time kept going by. And definitely, the excuse that I probably could have had was there was COVID, right? COVID kind of took up a chunk and we were in lockdown. And the crazy thing was during lockdown was when I made most of my videos. That was when I got focused because there was no distraction, no going out. There's nowhere to go and there's no one to spend time with. It's just you and yourself. And that's when I made most of my videos. But the thing is, I didn't have a lot to document. I had to be creative in my head to create these videos because we couldn't go anywhere. There was nothing to film. There was nothing, but I did so many fun things. I traveled so much and I ate so much good food and I didn't film any of that stuff. I only took pictures of the food. I have probably in my gallery or my phone storage, I have like 1,000 meals of delicious food, of food that I've tried with my friends and all over Vietnam and the places I've gone to. And I did not document. I didn't film myself eating. I didn't film my time with my friends. I had funny friends. We hung out, we joked, we filmed, we did a lot of fun stuff. We just went around the city, just driving around and just talking. And we had such great conversations where we'd stay up until 5 a.m. talking. And didn't document any of that, And so looking back, I do regret that because partly I was in the moment. And I keep those memories to my heart and I really treasure them. But on the other side, it's like, I could have documented it. I could have filmed a little bit of it, right? and I could have posted it, but I didn't, and so I got distracted. And it's not that I didn't make an effort to try for this film/YouTube thing. I wanted to be a director as well. I wanted to be a film director. In my time in Vietnam, I did build a YouTube channel, which has now 1,700 subscribers. Thank you so much. It's crazy because this growth, I got to 1K, and afterwards I didn't even post that much, and you guys still subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate that. Another side was the film side, and I met some people in Vietnam, and one of them was in charge of a multi-channel network, which is it's a company that manages YouTube channels, so for big YouTubers, and they would help maybe release content for them in charge of their YouTube channel. Or sometimes it's a minimal role where it's, maybe we push you on other YouTube channels and help you with collaborations, and then we take a cut of what you make. And so I met somebody who works there, and one of the people there was like, hey, I saw your YouTube channel, I saw the stuff you make, I would love to make you a producer. And so I got her email, I emailed her back and forth, and her offer, and I sent her my portfolio, resume, pretty much my YouTube channel, and she never got back to me. And so the next step I did was I went to the office directly, and I tried to find a way to speak with her, and she didn't come out. The front desk didn't allow me to go, and I was really bummed. It really knocked my confidence down. So that happened, and nothing came from that. And then I met another person. She was at a coffee shop. She was talking to her friend about some shoot that they were planning, and I overheard them, and I was like, you guys are making a movie or something? Hey, I have some video skills. I would love to help out in some way for free if needed. And so I got to help with a music video. And that music video was for her friend, and I added her on Facebook, and I found that we were mutual friends with somebody who I went to high school with. And that kind of led to me reconnecting with a high school classmate. And from that, we had a coffee. And from that coffee, he talked about there's going to be future films being shot in Vietnam. I'll let you know if there's any projects, and you can hop on and join me. And I was like, really cool, I appreciate that. And what's crazy was COVID hit, we went into lockdown, and there was no progress of film. Didn't hear anything about film. And then after COVID subsided, we got to go out again, and I was sitting in a coffee shop, and I heard someone else shortlisting, and then they were talking about their script and their shoot and stuff. And I was talking to them, I was like, hey, I really, love film, and I really want to do film. Is there a way that I could shadow you, or could learn from you, or could join you and help you out? From that conversation, I found out the guy was a director, and he found out that I had this passion for film and making videos. And so he offered to be my mentor, right? And I was like, wow, all this hard work. It took years, from one thing to another, building the YouTube. There wasn't a lot of growth. And then, getting offered to be a producer on this multi-channel network thing for other YouTubers. And that didn't really work. It kind of fizzled out. And then getting this opportunity, and he said, I will be your mentor. And I was like, wow, I'm so excited. But somehow the other classmate from high school also reached out to me at the same time, and he gave me an opportunity to work on a movie for Netflix. So if you saw Tourist Guide to Love, I'm credited as one of the assistant directors, third assistant director, which is pretty much an assistant's assistant. And so I got to have that experience. And from that experience, I finally got to do some film stuff, something that I've been wanting to do for so long. I had this passion for making videos and making movies, and from that experience, I realized that I didn't want to work on movies anymore. It's long hours, it's harsh conditions, When we were in Vietnam, we shot in really extreme heat, extreme weather, and it didn't pay very well afterward. Netflix is a big studio, so they paid well, but the projects that I was offered afterwards didn't really pay very well. So I looked at those opportunities that were offered to me, although I was grateful for them. Some of them sound so cool. You don't understand. Like, one of the projects I got offered after working on A Tourist Guide to Love was a French director-led film. It was going to be an action movie, a martial arts film, and I was going to be the translator for a French director and a stunt team who was Vietnamese. right? And I was like, that's so cool. I love martial arts. I love fighting. I love action movies. And I get to be a translator for that. And I was like, so cool. Well, the one thing I gotta know is I probably have to stop my teaching job. And how much is it gonna pay? And I asked them, and they said, okay, it's gonna pay 30 mil. I was like, oh, 30 mil, legit. That's the same amount I make as a teacher. That's totally possible. And they said 30 mil for 4 months of work. And so when you do the math, it's about 7.5 mil a month. And at that time, I wanted to go back to Hawaii, visit my family. And also, I was dating somebody, and I was pretty serious about that person. And, we had talks about, getting married and starting a family. And I was like, how is 7.5 mil going to help me take care of my family? How is it going to help me afford a plane ticket? 30 mil alone is about probably the plane ticket. And so that's 4 months of work to afford a plane ticket, just one plane ticket. And I was like, this is not sustainable. How long is it going to take for me to get to what I make as a teacher? And even what I make as a teacher, is that enough to take care of a family? And I started thinking about, well, if I do have a family, I would love to move back here. And if I did film here, is that sustainable? Because you're working on a project 12 hours a day, maybe 5 to 6 days a week for months at a time. So you barely have time to see your family. You're going to be gone. You're going to be away. How are you going to start a family like that? And so I started to think about, what was this viable? My passions, my dreams. And I had to take a hard look at my life and realize that probably wasn't the direction I should head towards if I wanted to build a life with this person. And so I transitioned into tech. I started learning and studying. I think that if that Netflix thing didn't happen, I think I would have felt very unfulfilled, unsatisfied with my time in Vietnam. Because the goal of going to Vietnam was to work on movies, maybe get in the film world in Vietnam and to build a YouTube brand. And my YouTube brand wasn't very big, and it still isn't very big. I definitely appreciate you guys watching these videos, but 1,700 subscribers is not enough to, completely live off of. And now I don't think that's my goal anymore, to have my YouTube brand kind of take care of me financially. This place is kind of just a place for me to share, for me to be open, and to talk about my experiences in Vietnam as a Vietnamese American, and also myself as an individual. And now that I don't live in Vietnam anymore, I don't know how much content about Vietnam I'm going to still make. And so I'm kind of trying to be open with you and share about my experiences. But of course, I'll always come back and visit. And I have a lot of friends in Vietnam. So looking back, these are the mistakes that I feel that I've made when I was living there. And so if I could go back, would I change anything? And I don't know. I think everything that happened to me and the way I was led me to this point in my life. And at this point in my life, I'm very happy with how things are. And I definitely have goals for my life. And I don't think I'm done. I don't think I've accomplished everything that I've wanted to accomplish in my life. But my sister asked me recently, if I died today, would I be happy with the life I've lived, with the things that I've accomplished? And I honestly could say yes. I really feel like I got to experience such a colorful life, a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of lessons learned. And there are things in the past where I probably would not do again. There are things that I would not have want to happen. Is it the best path? I don't know. I don't think so. But who I am today and the way I feel inside, I feel a lot more at ease with myself. I feel like I've gotten challenged a lot in my life, and I've overcome those challenges, and I've had a lot of setbacks, and I've overcome that. So these mistakes that I have, looking back, these are the regrets that I have. But I couldn't have gone to this point in my life without all these mistakes and all these regrets. If something were to happen to me now, I think, of course, I would be upset or distraught or kind of shaken. But also at the same time, I would have the ability to calm myself down and figure things out. And that's made me, and I think a part of that is growing up as an adult. And a part of it is also going through all these experiences. And it's made me stronger as a person. thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. I really want to kind of keep this channel as a place of dialogue and just a place to share, a place for you guys to share your experiences, your insights, and kind of have this conversation with me, because I realize I don't know everything. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Peace.